Ayer el comentario de Judy Evelyn Feliciano fue que yo me has sacado las uñas. Tacho, tú me has sacado las uñas, los dientes, tú me has sacado los ojos. A mí, Tacho, tú me has sacado el veneno antirecto. Tú me has sacado todo. Y yo he sacado las uñas. Yo nunca te he sacado las uñas. I've put it together. Am I cool? Why drag when life is funny? Why drag when life is funny? There's no point in the do today. Why drag when life is funny? Yo le he sacado la firma. Ahorita la que va que yo le he sacado la firma. Ella le he sacado las uñas, fue lo que la nación americana. Su abuela, la tiene esa abuela. Sí, él le ha sacado las uñas al gobernador que no se va. Y yo le he sacado la firma. Judy Garland, disowned me. She said she disowned me. She did disown me. When she found out about my monies and my properties, she depended on the faded Democrat leadership and the incompetent police force. Evelyn Feliciano, you can hide. But you can feel wrong, but you cannot hide. And last year, American citizens who suffered injustices of our federal and local governmental processes, dishonest law enforcement, our dishonest branches, our dishonest executive branch, with the masked man, Joe Biden, from the executive office, today we disown all three. Yeah, those are all four. The American nation disowns all four, just like Judy Garland disowned me. All right, so now I'm gonna talk. Later on. I'm gonna give names and exact dates. But in the House, in the Senate floor, there's 28 people that don't belong there. We have one from Pennsylvania, which is a meta-analysis. The Democrat that did him. He's from Roselle Park. His name is Dennis Fallon. He went to school. And he went to Roselle Park High School. He lived on East Lincoln Avenue. Dennis Fallon today is in Dalton, Georgia. You have another Democrat in Pennsylvania that lives in San Diego, Vallejo. You have one from New York that lives in Chicago, Illinois. One from New York that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and another one from New York that lives in New Orleans. One in Baltimore that lives in Austin, Texas. One in Virginia that lives in Oklahoma City. One in West Virginia that lives in Houston, Texas. One in Georgia that lives in Sacramento, California. One in South Carolina that lives in Pasadena, California. One in North Carolina that lives in Indiana. One in Florida that lives in Austin, Texas. Another one in Florida that lives in Seattle, Washington. One in Alabama that lives in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. One in Mississippi that lives in Detroit, Michigan. One in Louisiana that lives in Great Rapids, Wisconsin. One in Texas that lives in Wichita, Kansas. One in New Mexico that lives in San Diego and Obispo. One in California that lives in Canarsie, Brooklyn. One in Oregon that lives in Linden, New Jersey. And one in the state of Washington that lives in Roselle Park. Then in the House of Representatives, we have one that lives in Oakland from Pennsylvania, one from New York that lives in Edison, one from Baltimore that lives in Portland, Oregon, one in Virginia that lives in Seattle, one in West Virginia that lives in Scranton, one in Georgia that lives in East LA, one in South Carolina that lives in Seattle, one in North Carolina that lives in Seattle, one in Florida that lives in Salem, Oregon, one in Alabama that lives in Portland, Oregon, one in Mississippi that lives in Denver, New Jersey, one in Louisiana that lives in Vancouver, Washington, one in Texas that lives in Seattle, one in New Mexico that lives in Seattle, and one in Oregon that lives in Brooklyn, and one in Washington State that lives in Canarsie. We'll be back with more details later on. Please come in and be honest and say the truth.